Greetings, YouTube. I've always had a fascination for hoaxes and conspiracy theories. I own several hard copy books that deal with conspiracy theories. Some which are observations of conspiracy theories, and some which are full-blown immersed in the conspiracy theories themselves, written by true believers. One of my favorite would probably be Turmoil in the Toy Box, which deals with how toys are being used to lure Americans' children into satanic worship. It was written by a Christian fundamentalist. But it is definitely a conspiracy theory. And the biggest conspiracy theory of all, the biggest quote-unquote hoax ever committed in the entire history of humanity, would be the moon landing. The concept that the United States government didn't actually send astronauts into orbit all the way to the moon and land them on the surface of another heavenly body, our satellite, Luna. Now, one of the things that fascinates me about this is that it means that some people don't have enough faith in our science to pull this off, which is kind of depressing. It's quite astounding to me that we pulled it off, because it was a massive technical achievement, and if you think about it, the amount of computing power used to get us to the moon, land people there safely, and bring them back is less than can be found in automated vocal greeting cards in your grocery store right now. You know the cards you open up and they sing songs and stuff? Yeah, they have more computing power than the entire lunar program did, which is just mind-blowing. But here's the thing about that particular quote-unquote hoax, the conspiracy theory around the moon landing. The amount of effort to create that hoax, the amount of effort to sustain that conspiracy theory would exceed the amount of effort required to actually go to the moon and come back safely. So, if you just want to look at this like the old Occam's razor, it would take less work and less effort and time and money to go to the moon than it would be to perpetuate the myth that we went to the moon. The amount of backstory you'd have to create, all the details you'd have to generate, everything you would have to do to make that hoax be real and never ever have it fail, not in all the years since it's happened, exceed the amount of effort, time, and money it takes to go to the moon. So why am I bringing this up? There is no particular, anniversary today. Now, is there? No, there isn't. I bring this up because right now in American history, we are experiencing, in this very moment, the next great American hoax. And that American hoax is voter fraud. Because the amount of effort to actually commit all the fraud that the GOP is saying we are doing exceed the amount of effort that they're going to make it all go away. Because there isn't any fraud. I've spoken about this before. 10 legitimate cases of individuals showing up and pretending to be someone else out of 600 million votes. So to get those 10 votes, someone is saying that we have to change the entire voting structure of the United States of America and make it completely different. In the process, putting hurdles in people's way to the voting process. Disenfranchising the young, the old, and many racial minorities. All in an effort to make those 10 fake votes go away. The amount of effort being put into this exceeds the criminal acts themselves by a factor so high it is astronomical. Now, I'm going to link to a Boing Boing article about this, which links to another article, and the article is very detailed and very long. Be warned about that. But there's a passage here that I thought was very fascinating. The problem with this particular idea of voter fraud, the concept that people are going to show up at the voting booth and vote under multiple aliases, that it's not efficient. In fact, it is completely asinine if you want to sway an election. Think of the number of people you would need to mobilize, have them stand in lines all day at different voting locations. You couldn't really expect to vote over and over at the same place and not be recognized, to get enough votes to change the course of an election. Unsurprisingly, the GOP does not show interest in voter fraud caused by hacking voting machines or by partisan election officials destroying ballots. Both tactics that are more efficient and here's the stinger, documented. We have documented cases of GOP members fraudulently undermining the democratic process, disenfranchising hundreds and hundreds of Democratic voters. We know this has happened. And yet the GOP isn't doing anything about that. They want to go after the people that they say are showing up at voting booths and pretending to be someone else. It is complete, and I apologize for this, complete and utter bullshit. The GOP knows that they cannot win through legitimate election. So they are trying to cheat and steal an election. They've done this before, folks. We've heard this song before. Well, it's time to stop the tune. It's time for Americans to stand up and say, no, the GOP cannot steal another election. We will not let them. And these voter fraud laws, whether they are in effect or being attempted to be put into effect, need to be stopped, and now.